What's up, everybody? Jeff here with Out on That Line podcast, and today we're going to talk about the brand new interview with Howard Stern that Bruce Springsteen did. Now, this is a big deal because apparently in the past, Howard Stern has had some not great things to say about Bruce Springsteen's music. Not the first time I've heard people have an issue with the boss, but it was a big deal that Bruce finally went and did this interview. I think in recent years, he's become, a lot more open, kind of reflective about his life, kind of appreciating his entire career and allowing himself to get those accolades that he richly deserves. I was really looking forward to this interview when I first saw it. One, because I love Bruce Springsteen, obviously. If you listen to the podcast or any of these videos at all, I talk about him all the time for a reason. He's my favorite artist of all time. I do think when it's all said and done, he will go down as one of the greatest American rock and roll artists that has ever lived, if not already. The other reason I was really excited about this interview is because as many issues as you may have with Howard Stern, and certainly in the past, he said and did some things that were not great. A lot of things that happened on his show, very problematic. But in recent years, I think he's really mellowed out, become just a really strong interviewer, kind of at the level of like a David Letterman or somebody like that, that really gets a lot out of their guests. And Bruce himself is very expressive. Like, he's very well spoken, very able to explain his feelings in a way, that makes a lot of sense. He definitely is a thinker more than anything. It's a 2-hour long interview, and you get that sense the whole time. That Bruce is constantly considering what his next move is, what he's going to want to do with his music from this point forward. He was very forthcoming about the fact that there was a period in his career where he wasn't as popular as he used to be. I think a lot of artists look at, especially when they continue to create new music like Bruce has throughout the years. He's not just a legacy act. He's still creating new music. Letter to You is an album he came out with last year that's a really, really good one. And it's fresh and new. It kind of goes along with the age that he is now. And it was really nice to hear him be reflective on that, but also really kind of admit his best work was in, the 70s and 80s with Born to Run, Darkness on the Edge of Town, Born in the USA, The River, lots of those classic albums. I think he very much appreciates that time period and for what it did for him, and understands that without that, he wouldn't be where he is today. If he came out with an album like Letter to You and was not Bruce Springsteen, I don't know how popular that album gets, to be honest with you. I love it as a Springsteen fan, but I don't think it's going to get somebody into being a Springsteen fan like those 70s and 80s albums are. I think during the interview, Howard does a fantastic job at really leading Bruce into being able to tell really poignant, beautiful stories about his life. I think that's Howard's strength as an interviewer, is really finding, not just having a set number of questions, maybe he's got a point to start with, but understanding and leading the interview in a way that makes the guest more forthcoming, allow them to get emotional and vulnerable if they need to be. And also Howard getting emotional and vulnerable when Bruce was playing Thunder Road during the interview at the piano they had in the studio. Howard said he cried for the first time ever in an interview. I've been there with Springsteen when I saw him in, 2012, the Wrecking Ball tour, the first tour they did after Clarence Clemons had died. They did their version of Jungle Land, and I was wondering what they were going to do without Clarence Clemons. That's an iconic moment, iconic solo in music history, especially for saxophones. It might be the most iconic solo for saxophones. They came out with Clarence's nephew, Jake, for that, and played it perfectly. And I had Waterworks, so I understand exactly where Howard Stern is coming from with that. There's something about Bruce's music that just, if it hits you, it hits you. I think there's a lot of people that don't really care for him. Don't know why. But if you're into Bruce's music, there's nothing else like it. There's nothing that's more relatable. There's nothing that gives you kind of more hope for the future and the best of us. And I really, really like the fact that he's still vital. he's still wanting to create more music. He's still very vulnerable. He still understands, that he has shortcomings as a person, that he's a loner. He doesn't trust other people to do the things that he has in his mind. I think he's got very, very few people that he trusts with that sort of thing. I'm sure he's got plenty of people that he trusts with general life things, but with his music, he holds that very close to the vest. That is the most important thing to him. And when you sell your music for hundreds of millions of dollars, I guess it's pretty important to other people as well. I really, really recommend, especially if you're a Bruce Springsteen fan, to watch this interview. Also, watch the Springsteen on Broadway. I believe it's still on Netflix. The interview is on HBO. I really, really highly recommend watching that. Make sure that you let us know anything else that you want to hear. I could go on and on about Springsteen forever, but I'm trying to keep this one a little shorter. So let us know what you want to hear. Make sure you subscribe down below. You still have a chance. Get us your submissions for the end of the year Best of 2022 episode. That's going to be coming out on, I think, just before Christmas. I don't have a calendar in front of me. We're going to record one more episode of a regular album, and then it's the end of the year episode, and then we take a little break for the holidays. We'll probably post some, kind of YouTube videos throughout that, but full-length podcast episodes likely going to not happen until maybe first or second week of January when we get back from the holidays. Until next time.